ran the 1980s. I was the 1990s. I'm Gay Tony. I ran the 1980s. I was the 1990s. I'm Gay Tony. I ran the 1980s. I was the 1990s. I'm Gay Tony. I ran the 1980s. I was the
Hello, testing. There we go. Is that our mechanical overlords? So let's just see. Good morning, guys. How are you today? So we have a special guest today. So let's
Hey guys.
see. Let's see. So we're gonna get started here in just a second. Oh, oh, very good. All right, we got some Japanese going on. All right. Oh, Colin. All right. Oh, here it comes. All right. So just as a heads up, they're a couple seconds delayed
Okay.
from us.
Mm.
So any news on the figure board game or any hope? Okay, so let me just write some stuff down. Thank you. Okay. Oh, hello. All right. Let's see. How are we doing? How many views do we have? All right, 23 right now. Let's get more. So, all right, guys, but let's just wait around for people to get started and then Hi guys. Um, Going from there, we have a couple things we want to talk about today. Uh, Big things is we have some updates we want to talk to you guys about regarding just kind of where we're gonna be, and then after that, Edgy's got to get back to work for a little bit, but we'll open it up for a couple minutes if you guys have questions after that. We'll talk a little bit about the metagame because I'm sure everyone has comments about it. I've been watching the podcasts and listening to everything lately. So, and then after that, we'll kind of open up the floor to whatever you guys want to talk about. And the last thing is, I got permission to show you guys some new artwork, and we can talk about when the what's it called? Spoilers will start. We can't give you any spoilers today, but I can tell you when they'll start, and I have some spoiler artwork to show. So, with that being said, let's get started, shall we? So, just forewarning, guys, a couple pieces of information for Gen Con. uh, for Gen Con, Edgy and I aren't going to be able to make it to Gen Con. Edgy has a business meeting, and I'm not going to be able to go just because of work related things. So, apologize to that. We are sending some other very talented guys. They will be there, they will be helping out, and we will be represented at Gen Con, and hopefully, you guys enjoy that. Uh, a river song with six was. So going with that, hope you guys can enjoy that. There will be a tournament at Gen Con on Saturday. So if you have a chance, you can win an invite to the WGP. Along with that, Edgy, do you want to tell them?
Sure. Actually, as we received the request from them, it's a board game,
Mhm.
miniature board game, right?
Mhm.
So maybe you guys can see a couple of the miniature model to like exclusively for Gen Con.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully, we
uh,
are now preparing about that.
yes. It's so there will be some exclusive Gen Con figures that we're planning on having at our booth. I believe some of them are for sale. So if you have a chance, if you're at Gen Con, you can pick some of those up. So for those asking about the miniature board figures. So I just want the figures just to have them really. Yeah, that's. I'm curious as to which characters do you guys think uh, would you like the most as figures? I'm sure you've seen some of the original prototypes, but what characters do you guys like? So, going off of a couple, Pandora, pandas.
And also, we're gonna prepare like this one, right?
Okay, let's bring it closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you guys have seen, so if you are at Gen Con, you will have a chance to get some of the energized. Sorry, I'm blocking. So you'll have a chance to get some of the energized coins. So we talked about these before that you guys were interested in. So they will be at Gen Con. Uh, they have the cool back sign, as you might have seen. So that part is cool. From my understanding, they will be the Rhea rulers. I believe there will be a variety of them, so you can grab those if you're there. Very cool. Let's see. Charlotte, Lars, Faria. Very good. Very. I want all of them. Uh, I I think that's possible. Uh, will there be coins? Just like do 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 do.
My favorite character.
Oh, zero. It's
Maybe.
good style. Good style. Oh, yep. Someone just said zero.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there going to be energized coins at Worlds? Oh,
I think so.
oh okay. Okay.
And like
Oh, oh,
this or
do, 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 do. uh, so that's so So yes, there. If you're at Worlds, there. If there's maybe if there's any extra, then we'll have, or maybe we can look into getting some too. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Um, to discuss a little bit about the force of will system. We're still working on it. There's just a lot to be done.
Mm.
Um, we're trying to link up. Can I show you? I don't have any pictures preloaded, so I apologize, Espeon fan. Um,
So
but
then, in that case, maybe uh, still 26 people, not so much, but maybe we can discuss about it a little bit. So the implementation of the system is our not purpose. So to run the good tournament is our main purpose. So maybe this can be the good opportunity to ask them about the rural league, how they know the rural league.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
from next season, we are going to want to push the rural league. Actually, not system, right? Then the rural league, it's very casual tournament. We can come and enjoy and play together. So do you know they know the rural league or currently are they running rural league
So
in the state maybe?
that's actually so, guys. Curious if you have a chance, for if you have a ruler league that's active or that your shop supports, can you guys type one in the chat or some kind of kappa or anything to let me see? I'm just curious. We have about 30 people or so right now, but I'm just curious how many of your shops actually run on a semi-regular basis.
Or even this kind of question, you guys even know the
Rural league.
existence of the rural league. What is the rural league? Maybe we need to start around this
the-
point of question.
So that's let's see one, but it's not supported very well by promos or anything. I have one that's a train right away, but I go weekly. Thank you, Otsukare. Let's see. Around Rhea cluster. Okay, okay, so they're doing cluster. Okay. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay. So for those that aren't familiar or that need some context or background, um, the Ruler League is essentially the locals or the casual tournaments. If you're familiar with Magic or some of the others, it's Friday Night Magic kind of thing, but any time of the week, and it can be a format of your choosing. So a weekly league, essentially, yes. Um, Working on Wanderer format. So Wanderer format. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. Promos are hoarded by the distributor, so that's something we're trying to work with. So depending on what country you're in, like we know Europe has a great distribution system, so they have an excellent way to get them to you. We're trying to set one up, to be honest. Okay, and so there we're trying to find the best way to do that, and we want to make sure that you guys have a good locals experience so that you're supported in doing that, and hopefully we can support the LGSs who support you guys. So
you we want to introduce our big tournament in Minnesota. It's coming October.
Yep, yep, yep. So if if you've heard about Silvatana's, I apologize if I said your name wrong. Svetlana. She's having a 5K cash prize event, and I had Eiji sign some cards, and we sent them out to her. And
so we're happy to support that kind of tournament in the US.
Yeah. That's and we appreciate when shops support us and they go out of their way to host larger tournaments. We want to support you guys as well. Let's see. UK has gotten better with promos. Good, very good. I've heard. I know Benjamin was putting a lot of time and effort into kind of enhancing the UK. So um, let's see here. Figure out. You please allow outside the US to get. Okay. Not from. Sorry, Espeon fan. What? I would love to get figure. So asking about the figure. So if it becomes a non-unique like item, I'm sure we'll make it available globally. We generally don't exclusivize something to just one country unless it's a specific event going on. So this is a Gen Con trial, and we'll go from there. Our LGS is now starting to do monthly tournaments for Force of Will. Awesome, good. That's exactly what we wanted to hear. Like, and I do understand like that with the less downtime. Hi, Eiji. Nice to see you, Indonesia. See you in Japan. I was the Australian. So, did you meet an Australian Shayla player
Oh
when
yeah.
you were in Indonesia? So very good. Uh, very good. The Gen Con trial was the figures that will be there. So let's see here. Are there plans to expand advertising more than what is currently going on toward into the next cluster to help? Actually, yes. We're hoping to find more ways to branch out. And one of the things we've constantly talked about is our game is awesome. We have to let people know that it's awesome. We we have we have a tournament where people fly to Japan. We want people to know about them. So yes, we have talked about and we are working on strategies to get that information out there.
Mm. Oh, this is question from TG Scrubs.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you for asking.
Mm. That's I. So TCG Scrubs, I often watch your material. As you know, I did the interview with them. I'm thinking I should do another interview with them sometime.
And basically, from next season, as you mentioned, as a concern, so we are trying to, let's say, show ourselves more in the local level, local game, LGS level, and also a bit, trying to spread our information through website more. One of the important thing is we are now preparing the. I think we've already launched a new Valhalla website already, small one. But if we land the tournament, we can carry such information in same website, so people can see the Valhalla tournament is here, location is here. That is kind of the idea. So we've not started yet, but then people can easily can find location of the local game stores and for the or maybe basically it should be the platform to a new frontier.
Yes.
But we can show here you can play for the bill in a game store. Is I think it's possible to prepare before we start a new season. Before I mean October. So during the August, September, especially through Gen Con, so we are going to introduce our website and then we are going to um, gather the information of our LGS and then it makes easier for you guys to reach out the location to play.
So we are definitely familiar with the fact that it is difficult right now for some people to find places to play. And I know I was lucky when I started the game that I had a friend I could play with, and then I went online and I met lots of great people. And so finding out places where you can actually go and play, support your shop, and then they in turn can support you, all of that's great.
We are going to prepare the like really good, beautiful poster for the LGS for new season. The PR cards and hopefully some coins as well. So
we'll take good
things
care
are coming.
Yeah. Hi, Chile. Is it Chile or is it Chile? So I want to make sure I say it right because I've heard both sides of this. So I'll let you guys correct me. So TV commercial probably we wouldn't do just because the language barrier wouldn't cross across all the countries very well, and so we'd end up making the same thing. Well, how many languages do we print in? 9?
Seven.
7? Okay, yes, we're doing good. Um, and so let's see here. Some local store will not bother to stock box and just the deck. So when it comes to stocking, you have to, I guess, ask your local game shop to pre-order, and hopefully they'll take care of you. Um, let's see. My local this box is. Whoosh. Sorry, guys, I'm just changing. Westerners have some trouble sitting Japanese style. My, let's see, that is a cool shirt. How can a commoner like me obtain one? I assume you're talking about Eiji's shirt because mine is a judge shirt. So I believe Eiji's shirts are custom, yes? Yes, custom made. So you can't get those ones, guys. That's only for the boss. If you want one of these, or actually, as you guys know, I'm working on the judge system for the US and to help kind of support Japan as well and APAC. Um, we're going to be having new shirts coming, I believe, in the next season. So if you want, you'll be able to get the judge shirts. The new ones match our new logo color, but I don't think we've shown that yet, so we can't talk about it. Not yet. But he's activating his judgment. um, let's see. So I'm gonna just check info. Oh. Let's see here. Wander. So how about the Wanderer format though? So mm, I think that maybe can be our last topic that you and I talk about because I know you have to get back to work. But um, so yeah, the Wander format we've started implementing the ban list. The formats happen less often, and so there's a little bit less dynamic to it. We're obviously trying a little bit different pathway with Wanderer, but just curious we're up to 41 now. In our audience as of now, uh, how popular would you guys say? Like, give me a ratio of players. How popular is Wanderer in your community or local game shop or whatever it may be? Like, let's say, like, give us a scale of 1 to 10, being uh, 1 being not at all, 10 being more popular than any other format. And while we wait for responses, I see a really good one that I'm kind of curious. So, what were your thoughts when you were creating Valhalla Force of Will?
Kinda a good question. People want to know every time.
That's
The beginning was, always small. We just wanted to create a new game. The theme, the love, everybody loves like kind of gods, myth, mythology, such kind of theme and a new game idea. Just try, and we got small buff as a small game, and then rolling, touchdown.
So, very good. All right. So, all right, we're getting lots of answers now. Wander is relatively popular in Germany. I would say 8 out of 10. I would say 8, semi. When you're not prepping for GP or higher tier events, we try to have a monthly Wander. We have one shop that does one Wander and one. Wander tends to be. I lost it. Wander tends to be more popular and draw more people lately. I'm wondering. So that's an interest. Wow, it's quite popular. It appears. Okay, there's a couple where it's not, but um, it's pronounced Chile. Okay. The first way is it. This was Yu-Gi-Oh! For more. I was surprised when I realized there was no tournament over here. So, for South America, yeah, we have. Let me bring this back up. South America, we've been looking at ways because we know we've heard that there's been multiple countries asking us. So now Chile, we've heard it from Colombia, we've heard it from I believe Brazil. So we're starting to hear more and more. So that's good things to hear to potentially have something more in the future. Um, so one of the things, just to comment about Wanderer, is or we've been trying kind of different ways to exercise the ban list in different formats and see which has a more positive effect. And so we're starting to see kind of the results of that. And obviously, Wanderer is not perfect yet, and neither is New Frontiers. But this is kind of as exact of a science as it can be while also experimenting a little bit. Um, hope for an art book from the Alice Cluster Lapis Cluster. I've talked about it. It's a cool idea. I don't know the feasibility of it, but believe me, I have the Valhalla Grimm art book. I love it. Let's see. Um, let's see. Does Eiji know about the minuscule custom card community? Oh, have you seen any of those?
Minuscule
Mm.
custom card.
So essentially, on Facebook, there is a special subgroup that creates their own cards. And so sometimes they're super strong and silly, but it's a way for kind of players to, they have a kind of a program that lets them take their own pictures and stuff and make cards. Have you seen any of those?
No, I've never seen one.
Ah, okay, okay.
I've seen the possible memes. Memos?
Which one is that?
Let me search about
Okay,
it.
okay,
Yeah.
you'll find that. Uh, Playstyle. Any chance for that to be correct? Is the Rachel promo I've been seeing floating around real? Uh, oh, you mean memes?
Memes.
Yes.
This one.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So
Sometimes we can find the
pretty funny ones,
yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
nice artworks and good cosplayers.
So some of these are pretty funny. So yes.
Appreciate.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. Very good.
Everybody knows maybe.
Mm.
I mean, it's here, right?
Yeah.
That is it. So memes.
Uh, so just as a forewarning, guys, memes are not a very known quantity in Japan, and so that
What does memes mean?
so a meme is a cultural kind of understanding, and so there's a lot of on internet right now. It's a very common thing, but they're actually very old. But the idea is essentially a relatable situation that both people can understand without explaining. So a very common one might be like do you remember Cell from Dragon Ball Z? Do you remember when he was gonna explode and he got like really big? There's a famous one where it kind of showed him saying like I'm charging my laser. And so just silly jokes that can be repeated and people recognize them, and then kind of it's an in joke that many people get. Or like
It has a very beautiful poster like this. So sometimes I enjoy this website.
Yep. So uh so yeah. So we're learning about memes as social constructs. Welcome to Jeff's class. This is what happens when I go off tangent. All right, I know you have to get back to work for now, so I'll let you say bye and then we'll keep talking, guys.
Thank you, guys. Please enjoy.
Bye
Bye.
Oh god, my foreign legs don't work. Ah. Alrighty, guys. So. Alright, so couple things and then we'll transition into meta discussion stuff if you want. Oh gosh, my legs, they're numb. Give me one sec, guys. I'm gonna be short for a second while I stretch my legs. But essentially, the last update I wanted to just talk about real quick is so the spoilers for New Valhalla, starting with the starter decks, should be starting August 6th. So I believe that's what, 10 days from now? So I'll be previewing some artwork today, but not the actually cards. I tried to get you some runes to talk about a little bit, but no need to be sure if you tricky. Oh. Here, how's that? So we will be starting. Please don't spoil the card list again. I love the surprise of collecting. Oh, the runes. Give us the runes. Any news on the battle simulator? Not that I've heard. Sorry, Mojo. Um, that's I've not heard anything about that recently, actually. We want the runes. So, oh my god, I just realized. So, I wonder if it's gonna become a joke, like using the Stewie ruined. Like, I use a ruin. I want the ruins. Why are you saying it like that? Ruined. Ascended rulers still available. The old ones? I don't think so. Not even here. I think they were all like every single one that was printed. I think was sent out. So I've talked about this before. I would love to make new ones, but the cost of the artwork and the free time is something that we don't have right now. So also there will be a mass air rent for past rulers. I assume you mean errata, and the answer is no. Uh, that would totally change. That would mess up the game. So no. Part of the design process is that the new rulers, because they have access to the runes, don't have as much on other sides. So it's kind of a balance there. Now, how balanced that is with some of the oldest stuff depends. Like, obviously, original, let's say, uh, Chronos and stuff, not gonna get a bunch of extra cards to help them out. Tournament report system that we're trying to. That's part of the force wheel system, so don't worry about too much about that. Scented rulers, yeah, scratch and sniff cards. You just be like ah, ah, good. I love it. Yo, scratch and sniff willpower rewards. That smells like a strawberry reward. Uh, when will we find out? I believe the willpower rewards announcement is in August because I've been asking about that one too. If you private message me at all, I've asked about that. So there should be an announcement, hopefully, not hopefully, but in August sometime. I don't know if maybe it'll be on the same day. I don't know exactly when. I don't think I got a specific date. Uh, are the new runes as power? No. And a couple parts to that. Uh, I will share some things. So the runes have some of them have adjusted costs when they're put into the rune deck as opposed to the main deck. Um, some of them can, and I've said this before, but can only be used by the a specific ruler. Um, as far as the trying to think. There are some that count as only runes that can only go in the rune deck. There are some that are runes that can also go in the main deck that are chance. I don't play We Cross besides using the cards as tokens, so uh, I don't know what Lyrig Arts means. Um, so the idea, Espeon fan, if you're curious, is so a lot of the decks have become so centralized on how powerful the ruler is. Uh, the ruler specifically, not the J ruler. And so whichever card has the strongest ruler ends up being the format defining card because you have that advantage from the beginning. And so a way to kind of balance that out is to then use the judgment cost in combination with something like the runes and affect the J ruler side equally. So, uh, for example, like Kronos, one of the best rulers of all time, has no judgment side. His ruler side is just bonkers, or Lumia, exactly, or the original Loki or Garmheld, I believe it is on that side. But so the ability to have and even Prisia, um, like the ability to have a strong ruler side was essentially giving you immediate, incredibly strong access with no wheel cost. So Sherry automatically gives you Grimoire and has the quick cast ability, and then has a judgment of 3. And then when she judgments, she has 5, I think 5 abilities: quick cast, flying, and then 3 enters. Yeah. So that was huge. So I think we're trying to. Well, I've requested that we get to a more sane place, and so that is actually more decisions to be made. And Sherry versus Sherry, yes, of course, is a very skill-intensive match. But I think that a lot of players are playing and they want to enjoy more than just the chess aspect. They want to kind of personalize their deck. They want to play with their ruler and they want to have a chance with their ruler, regardless of what that ruler is. And so that's kind of the design direction I asked for. Rune's system is what they came back with from my request. I can't answer the dual stone question, sorry. So why include... isn't it more so that Sherry? Okay. Yeah, Sherry does too much, and just in general. And like you guys know my philosophy of uh, having an answer to everything, and so the fact that she has a static effect, she has 3 enter effects, she has incredibly powerful J ruler side, all of it. Like she could have just had a ruler side to me, and it would have been fine. But that's me personally. If there's any runes that become broken, I can ban them. Ta-da! Like that's the easy side to that is that the uh, without having the rulers be absolutely bonkers, I think I'll have less of a fight, so to speak, to make any adjustments that need to happen. I don't foresee, like, the next format feels very comfortable from testing so far, so I'm not too worried about that. I mean, sealed items were unpopular for different reasons, I believe. Like, that was because you had 3 versions of the same card. Whereas these are, you have access to them, we're giving them more support, but you have full access to everything. Is there's no, I mean, you voice your concerns, and that's my job is to answer them. I try not to hide away from that. That's the whole point. Is my job is to acknowledge that there are concerns, and then to discuss what that will be. Um, for draft rulers, like you will use the draft ruler that comes in the box that you're drafting from. So, for example, if you're opening R1 through R4, you would use the draft rulers that come in the box. For V1 through V4, you'll use the draft rulers that go in that box. Hi, it's Mike. So Xenolexia, that's a super good question. Do I think that they will fight against each other? I think at first, realistically, let's be honest, like New Frontiers, the most of the decks that have had 4 sets of support will more than likely start out strong. I think the biggest thing will be what the rune deck rulers, so the Valhalla rulers, what can they do or what do they have access to that the other Rhea rulers do not initially. And so then also like color support and kind of how easily they can splash other cards, and so all of that. Let's see. Will the next cluster be getting new stone art? Yes, it will. I've seen actually the new arts. So the colors themselves have kind of, I asked that some of the abilities be moved around a little bit. I can't talk about what they are yet, but in the starter deck spoilers, you'll start to see some of the changes. So yeah, tournament report system, I talked about that. Right now, there's really not a great way for locals to communicate with us, and I do know that, so that's what the Force of Will system is supposed to be for, so we can get information about that. For larger scale events, there's going to be other forms of feedback that we're working on. Will the starter rulers be foil? I think so. I think the starter rulers, and I think there's a couple foils in the starters as well. So yes, lucky number 11 over here. So the basically Spoilers. Jeff moves all the mechanics from every color into it. So we thought that the other colors had a little too much going on. They still had some things they could do. First strike on white, burn in red. So we just moved everything to kidding. That's a joke. It's a joke. Uh, so uh, uh, we moved one of Green's major things. Two major things I've tried to move out. I won't tell you what there is yet. Um, by the way, for the future, considering posting on Reddit before having this. If someone wants to post on Reddit, go ahead. It's I'm not. I actually my computer today. If that wasn't obvious, I'm at the Koshigai office, so I'm not logged in, and I don't remember my password to anything. Um, any news on the new judge program? I think I just talked a little bit about the shirts and whatnot. The judge tests are done. They're being translated, and some you got it wrong. I'm talking about a system to report the tournament results. Do you mean to us or to actually host the event? I haven't responded to the Dual Stones question because I cannot. I finally know the answer. Well, I think I've known for a while. But when we get closer, maybe in August stream, I have a couple riddles I want to give you guys, and I'll tell you a couple things, and then, but I'm a big fan of wordplay, so you'll have to figure out what I actually mean. Um, Fire rulers are kind of like. Any thought about box design? uh, I have no idea. To be totally honest, my understanding is we're using a new printing company because of obvious reasons. And so I have not seen what kind of boxes this new company is able to create. So I'm the new Cheshire Cat. How does it? Also, remember that my normal or not normal, but I'm also a professor, so I'm quite good at lying to people's faces. uh, but I actually choose. I almost never lie, so let's be clear about that. What I will do is I will tell you just enough so that you have to look at every single word exactly as I say it and pay very close attention. If you've ever watched The Imitation Game, that's kind of similar. I will talk, you will not speak, you will listen very closely, and at the end, you can judge me. I just watched that again a couple weeks ago. So, um, sup? Hey, Jeremy. Um, so yeah. All right. So I believe. I guess I'll open it up. Uh, I mean, I've already been kind of just answering what you guys have questions about, but yeah, shoot me anything you guys want to know about. Hmm. I will answer to the best of my ability. Will New Valhalla still have God packs? Let me find out. Does the next set still have God packs? He's on the phone. Sorry. Um, sorry about that. Oops, didn't realize he was on the phone. I think they are, if I recall. We talked about it, but I think they still exist. And there's also some cool stuff in the new sets as well. Um, oh, God, my legs. Oh, oh, if you didn't see these before, when Eiji was playing with them, so these are just some nice canvases we have at the office. Uh, so how many boosters are there for new? Sorry, what do you mean? How many boosters are new? If you mean a booster box, I think it's the standard 36. I think that's we 36. Is it 32? I think 36. Um, did you guys intend for a new cat ninja ruler to sound so strong, or was that a lore accident? I think it's so what the Japanese author wrote and then translated it. Um, so I like I don't think that that was the intention by any means to just be like, oh, this ruler sounds shenanigans, but put the black one back on top. I love this card in full art, by the way. Yeah. Let's see. Sorry, how much? With the figure, let's see. Sell those canvases. Hey Jeff, I challenge you for one of those canvases. Unfortunately, they are not mine to give. My bad, guys. When is spoilers going to start? Someone else can answer that. Why the decision to go back to smaller set sizes? So that was because um, a combination of a couple things. So number one was if you guys noticed in the beginning of Rhea that you couldn't get a full playset of cards even with 3 boxes a lot of the time because we went up to 150. And so obviously it was good for drafting, and if you've drafted R1 or R2, you know that they're really fun to draft. The downside being that then people weren't getting enough playsets to actually play the game, and so that was something that was noticed. And uh, so we talked a little bit, and so we're a little bit above I think what we used to do, 110 I think for new Valhalla. But the idea being that we want players like the old standard was always like 3 boxes got you basically everything, and then you could make almost every deck. That was kind of our idea going into this new one. um, so obviously the distribution is a little bit randomized, but the idea being that we want you to be able to play the game. And so now you might not have max rarity with 3, but with a combination of everything that you get, hopefully you're pretty dang close to having playsets so that you can actually enjoy the game. Um, and then obviously there's some, if you're familiar with pimping in Magic the Gathering, uh, have to make ways to do that too, so that you can kind of style a little bit. Um, so if you answered it, was the starter packs being so important for the new cluster? Um, I've asked that the sales order sheets go out with every Valhalla booster pack or boost like so V1, V2, V3, V4. I've asked that they send out that order sheet again so that the availability of the starter decks doesn't become an issue. There's a fruit fly and it's bugging the crap out of me. There we go. So that yes, that cause of concern was accounted for. Um, and then there were the starters. I was talking about system. That's what Force of Will system is for. It's for LGSs to put in that information, and then the company itself has access. I'm not Horde or Alliance. I'm Final Fantasy 11. That game came out first and is significantly better. World of Warcraft is for people that aren't good at games. Oh ho ho ho! But actually, I liked the skill chain and magic burst system better than, and I don't like Blizzard's like aesthetics for characters. I'm not a big fan of D&D style. I like the Final Fantasies kind of creatures and uh, the sass. I'm kidding, guys, but I did try World of Warcraft. I played a blood elf thief or rogue or something like that, but it was fun for a little while. Never do that one. Any old mechanics making a return? There is old mechanics returning. I mean, not super old. Like no explode. Um, as much as I want explode, but actually I was just making some like cards for fun on my own, and I was just like, let's put explode on there. That's a good mechanic. Said no one ever, but I love it. Hey, 11 was glorious. So as much as I love standbys and stealth, at least for V1, they are not there. That's I really want them to be. So they're not dead, but I'm also I've been working a lot trying to fix the rulings on them because the ruling on the timing for standby or specifically triggered is really messy. So I'm not pleased with the execution of them yet. But stealth isn't bad. It needs to be balanced properly. Um, you haven't mentioned life break, and I'm scared. Uh, there is no life break. You have to play casters if you want to play with life break. Uh, so when the force wheel system comes out, you should be able to. You will essentially request to hold the local event, and then you will get credit for it. And then after that, you will uh, you'll put in your input for your players, and then it will go into a mass aggregate for the company, and then we can see each individual shop, what they're doing, when they're hosting, etc. I see you, Tyler. I already told you that I had nothing to say. I don't know anything about it. Does cancel cards are only for green cards? Uh, are cancels only green in New Valhalla? And I believe so, but there's very few even of that because I asked cancels to be toned down a bit. There's one that you guys are gonna see that I feel like you might like, at first, but actually, uh, it's not out of the realm of like, okay, it's reasonable. Do we have an expected release for the Force Wheel system? ASAP. Hoping by the new season. No, it is. It is. I will not let a Otherworld Dreams happen as long as I have any say. I beat you at Smash. Will you unban Otherworld Dreams? Hmm. I'll. If you can beat me in Smash, I'll consider it. Six Sages are part of Re-Earth, and so they are not in the world of New Valhalla. So, story-wise, they're somewhere else. Jeff, do you think there's any possibility that we could see coming from Force Wheel's creative department, even like a one-of manga? Uh, I did see the Family Guy thing where it's like, uh, I'm actually kind of opposed to that. I like original ideas, so, but when's the Yonkoma? How about a real fighting game? Smash Nutter. Oh, that Hot Fire. I'll play Marvel 3, although it's been God, how long since I've played it? Um, let's see. I thought the Facing in Kaguya traveled to the New Valhalla. To be honest, I'm not sure about the story. I I read them and Injustice, get out of my life. Ugh. Sorry, Mortal Kombat, but you are not my love. Force of like, oh, it's Sentinel, baby. Can it be Marvel 2 and then we'll just make the cable ruler just be you can only play one spell a turn. It costs 5 extra to play, or your opponent can only play one spell a turn. And it costs 5 extra to play. New golems. As far as the golems that we've seen, like with Pandora, I think relatively low, at least for the starter decks. So, will there be runes that offer static continuous effects? Um, like, like it really gains like ah do a Smash Bros. Golf. Yeah, because Nintendo isn't swimming in billions of dollars. Um, I've actually requested some historical stuff because I do agree in like if we could like make a Vingolf in the future, like I would like to put something like that, like support some of the stuff that didn't get as much support or help out some of the other stuff. Not break them by any means, but like Pandora could do. I mean, and this is again just me, guys, but like Pandora could do some with some love, and as could like Freyla just needs a little bit of love. So any plans for events? Um, yeah, I mean, we talked about like we if there's a, it's more so like the sales team. I think finding the people to do that kind of stuff, like without like 100+ man events, I think it would have to be a pretty small scale. But it also depends on like the region. So all of that right now we have the North American region. I don't think we have any manager for the South American region yet. They just like a separate shipping entity altogether. Is there a zero divinity rune that gives you a really plus? No, there is not. There is no zero divinity cost. Everything costs at least one, and I think right now the cap is 3 or 4. Um, so, and Lord Piggyberg. the, I forgot about Lord Piggybergstein, the true rune of power. So with Golem's also showing it, and this is not like as far as I understand from the design team's perspective, those things are done. If it would be, it would just be something where they accepted more of my input to support older stuff. But that's like in the design itself, uh, there is no plans. Unfortunately, the design space is super tight. You'll see what I'm talking about. Like explicit support is like very like you'll be able to say this is for this ruler to some degree. Like within the color, obviously there are some differences, but like we want you to be able to still. I don't like when it's we build your deck for you and then like Yu-Gi-Oh just kind of oh look these have the same archetype. Like it's more fun when you guys can kind of find stuff that even we didn't see or whatnot. So uh, your opponent loses 4,000 life. Uh, how will divinity with the runes affect Rhea rulers? It won't affect them at all. It's just they don't have divinity, so they'll be able to use the cards that are rune slash chant. That so essentially they can be in the main deck. They're absolutely fine to use those. The ones that are only rune that can only be put into the rune deck, they won't have access to those cards. And that's basically how that'll work. We get if oh, cool. About 5 minutes, guys. Or I can go a little bit over if you need. Um, uh, so would the company ever be open to going to pro players? I actually talked to pro players about the ban list. You know who you are if you're listening. I tried to talk to at least a couple people in each country. What I am trying to do to be really cool, or at least I think it's cool, is a lot of the testing has all been offline and in person, and I would love to get a private server or something, so where I could test alternative ban lists, where I could test new cards, new formats, and it just this is just for me, but it saves me a million hours making all that stuff. Um, hmm. Cash prizing is a weird situation because it's a Japanese company. I've asked about it, especially for next season, just to see if it's a possibility. I haven't gotten explicitly a no, but at the same time, I don't know what the budget for next season is, so that's a big part of that. But I know that it's difficult though because some countries we can't do it. Like we couldn't do that in Japan. We also can't do it, I believe, in some of the Asian countries. So let's do the best we can. Yeah, the issue, Tyler, is that any cards that I upload, people could see, so I couldn't upload new cards. But yeah, as long as you guys don't ban any Will of Hope archetype cards. Are there any steps to fix the secondary market is explicitly that secondary. That's I mean, everybody has their own thing, what they believe, why things are the way they are, but we try to keep our hand out of that. Obviously, we make some decisions, and like we're purposely not like spamming reprints of everything, so that there is still like some value in cards, but at the same time, like this is my personal philosophy, but like you want cards to be accessible so that people can play. You want Pimp to be expensive so that you can kind of show off at the same time. Like my legacy Magic deck is every single card is either foil or some alternative black border, etc. Because that's kind of how you show support and swag for something. So same kind of deal. Sorry, Taylor. I read quickly. Just want to say thank you for your time and answering my question. No problem, homeboy. I've asked you every single. I want to make the line stickers, but I don't specifically know who to talk to about that kind of stuff. Any chance for Chamimi to get her playstyle revealed like the other villains? I'm trying to think of some of her cards off the top of my head. She's got the cute stuff. I remember. I can tell you that one of her runes is definitely like her specific rune that only she can use is quite useful for kind of being her game winning style, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say without really. I've been writing up like what they do, but the that's hard. Sorry. Like I'd have to spend a little bit more time to think of a good way. I hadn't really planned on explaining that one too much. How important do you think a form of Billstone is to the game? Not asking about reference. Um, uh, that's a good question. I think having them and not having them both allow us to have very interesting game, like metagame feels that, like, if you've played in original Valhalla cluster, like the ability, like most decks were two color because there was no dual stone, so it was only basics, and then you had a the kind of costing on cards was very free will intensive. Like there was like one like smog, for example, is one red, four of anything, whereas we've gotten more color intensive. So if we have stuff like that where the cost of the cards is relatively free, it lets you still splash colors. When the free costs are lower and the will color is more intensive, then if you don't have dual stones, then you're a little bit more locked into certain flavors. So I think that's interesting. I think that dual stones are good and bad. So on one side, having too much freedom makes every deck very samey as far as just good cards. On the other half, you can go the opposite direction where if everything's only mono, the decks kind of build themselves to some degree, especially with smaller card pools. So there's an argument for both sides. I don't think either one is. I think to be completely static is not good. I think it's good to change it up from time to time and even change how the duels work from time to time. But like, I think just always one thing is kind of boring. Um, let's see here. Uh, all right, guys. So it looks like time is. If you could print any non-smokestacks card in enforcement, what would it be? Does it have to be another game's card? Uh, hmm. I have like a whole design file of cards I want to make, so maybe I should keep them to myself for now. Hmm. I I spent a lot of time trying to make old broken cards into modern designed, strong but not broken cards. So uh, yeah. So we're gonna go have a little discussion here. I have a meeting I have to go to, guys. But real quick, so I'm going to give you guys a couple little spoilers here. Um, so I have some artwork for you. I apologize, it doesn't have the actual card, but we'll go through. So give me 1 second. Um, as far as the how do I feel about high cost cards, I think that the answers are very strong. So if you can't justify something living long enough, then that's what you're forced to do. So here is the first one. Yay! Uh, so this is a white rune, I believe. Obviously, this is for Brunhild. Um, and next up, we have. Actually, you know what? We will have. Jordan is gone, my friend. Next up, we have. According to the US, maybe this is Space Isis. But Isis, this is a rune for her, I believe, as well. I wish you guys could see these in like high def because they're beautiful. Winter's Defender, go away. Next, I believe this is a Loki card. So I believe Loki's got some spoopy going on. Gotta have that spoopy forest. And then we have Chamimi, you know. And then from Cthulhu Spaghetti to Chamimi with some hippos. I don't have any Hanzo cards for you today, guys. Get tone shift. So this is a kawaii out of 10. And then the last one. So this one is a resonator, I believe. Sorry, I didn't have any night pictures for you today. I was going through the runes mostly. This is the only resonator I had. So, alrighty. And there you have it. Yeah, the I'm very happy. I love the too hot in Japan. All right, guys. So, off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't remember, Jeremy, how many runes. I know the structure decks each have 5 for each ruler. Um, so 10 in the starter decks per, and then I don't remember how many are in New Valhalla. I'm pretty sure it's even across the board, though. Will the runes be? Yes, yes, they will. Um, is there plans for a website for just set work of cards? I assume you mean artwork of cards. I don't think so. But the artists generally post their stuff, and you'll be able to ask on the online forums and whatnot. You'll be able to get the artwork if you really want it. So, all right, guys. I think that's gonna kind of wrap it up for now. So, with that being said, I will say avitase. Take care. Um, so, with that being said, I hope to talk to you guys soon. I don't know if I'll always be able to have Eiji here, but for the time being, I hope you guys enjoyed that he was here. We will definitely have one next month. I'll make an announcement again when it is. Uh, if anyone is interested in talking more about design or anything else, send me a personal message. We can chit chat a little bit if I have time. So, yeah, with that being said, guys, take it easy.